Here are the 3 things you must do if you want to reach $10,000 a month in your reselling business next year. Hey guys, my name is Caden. I've done over $2 million in the sneaker reselling industry. And with that being said, I've also coached over 800 clients past 5 figures, past $10,000 in sales. So I have a bunch of experience to be able to help you scale your reselling business. And in this video, we're going to be covering 3 different things that you must do if you want to achieve a business that makes $10,000 a month. So let's get right into it. Number 1 is going to be a little cliche, but it's mindset. So the first thing you have to do is actually believe that it's possible. All right. A lot of people don't believe that it's possible for them to hit a goal. And because of it, they never really actually try. How many of you guys see other people driving sports cars or having nice houses and mansions and you go, wow, that's great. Lucky for them. I wish I could be like that someday. And if that's your mindset, if you wish you could be like that someday, it's never really going to happen because you don't feel like you truly deserve it. It's the same thing in business. If you don't feel like you truly deserve to have a $10,000 business, you'll do anything to sabotage that from even happening. And that starts with not even doing the work that it takes to get there. So I'm telling you, you have to actually believe that it's possible and that you are capable of achieving this goal, or else you won't even freaking try. I remember almost 4 years ago, I got on a call with one of my mentor's team members, and he told me that it was possible for me to make $30,000 a month. At this time, I was just trying to get to 10K a month because, that was going to be a huge amount of money. I would be making 6 figures a year, right? But this guy told me I could make 30 grand. I did the math in my head. I'm like, I can make $360,000 a year. You actually believe that? And he believed it. He believed it more than I did. Right. So over time, I began to trust him and actually started putting in the work like it was possible. And then I achieved it. So if you don't have the right mindset, these goals are never going to happen. Number 2, and this is the most important of them, in my opinion, volume. $10,000 is a lot of money. And if you want to make $10,000 a month in profit, it doesn't mean you just sell $10,000 worth of shoes. It's more like you need to sell $20,000, $25,000, or $30,000 a month worth of shoes. So our average ROI for our clients in my coaching program is around 40%. So with that being said, if you bought and sold $25,000 worth of shoes, you should expect to make around $10,000 in profit, right? If you're making 40% of that. So that means you got to buy and sell $25,000 worth of shoes every single month. So if you need to buy and sell $25,000 worth of shoes, my average shoe sale is around $140. So that comes out to around 180 pairs that you need to sell per month, which is actually pretty true because from my calculations on my old data, when I first hit $10,000, it took me about 6 months of reselling, but I had sold close to 180 or somewhere around 210 shoes that month. So that's what I would say, again, you would need to shoot for. But if you're not buying 180 shoes a month, how can you expect to sell 180 shoes a month, right? And with that being said, every shoe that I buy doesn't sell necessarily in the same month, right? I have stuff from months ago that's still continuing to sell. So you actually need to buy a lot more than what you actually intend to sell. And again, you have to break down the math. If you want to sell 180 shoes a month, it's about 6 shoes a day. So if you have to sell 6 shoes a day and you're only selling 6 shoes a month right now, there's a lot of things that you need to change to get up to speed. I just had a call yesterday with a client and I told them that last night I sold 12 pairs of shoes. When I was sleeping, sold 12 pairs in my sleep, woke up to 12 sales. It's a great feeling if you haven't felt that before. But anyways, I told him that and he was shocked. He was like, no way, really? He didn't. It sounded like he didn't even believe me because he couldn't get more than a few sales a month. And then I proceeded to ask him, I said, well, tell me, man, how many shoes do you have in your inventory right now? And he said he had 3 pairs, right? Nothing against him for having 3 pairs. But how can you expect to get 5, 6, 7, 8, 12 sales in a night if you only have 3 pairs listed? So that's the second thing, actually getting the volume and putting yourself in the position to win. If you have a certain goal in mind, it might not even be 10K, maybe it's $3,000 a month. Well, do the math in your head and figure out what you need to buy and how much you need to sell in order to make that number. I'll put the math on the screen, but generally the numbers that I go with is 40% of whatever you sell is usually what you'll make in profit. Again, this is if you have good margins, like we teach using discount codes, stuff like that. And then you need to buy at least 20% more inventory than you plan to sell. So if you want to sell 100 shoes in a month, don't just buy 100 shoes. You got to buy at least 120 because chances are, that extra amount is not going to sell. So it just helps you get towards that number. So again, with the math, you got to get 40% of what you want to get to. You got to figure out how many shoes you got to buy and sell every single month and then calculate it and divide it by 30 so you can figure out how many shoes you have to buy and sell every single day. That way you actually have a trackable target you can reach daily. Because when I break it down like this, I had a client who sold 2,500 pairs of shoes this year in about 250 days. That's a lot of shoes, like 2,500 pairs. When you break down, it's 10 shoes a day. Well, at 10 shoes a day, I think a lot of us could manage 10 shoes a day. It's not super crazy, but that also means he's buying more than 10 shoes a day, right? In some weeks he's buying, 100 plus pairs. Right? So you got to realize, what the strategy is that you're trying to achieve. So now we've talked about mindset and also volume, but also realizing what goal you're trying to achieve. The most important one, which is our third one, is understanding the tools and resources you need to get there. If you want to make $10,000 a month, you can't do it with $1,000. So what I mean by that is if you want to make $10,000 a month, you can't do it starting with $1,000. Now, I started my reselling business with $1,000. It's a great place to start. And you can actually make some solid income from it. You can make a few $100 a month from it. but don't expect to make $10,000 a month from starting with $1,000. It's just not realistic. And if you go in with that mindset, think that, hey, I can start with $1,000 and turn it to 10,000, you're going to fail. All right. For me, I knew when I started with $1,000 that I was going to start slow and I was going to learn and I was going to put more and more money in when I could afford it. And eventually I got some credit cards, so it allowed me to buy more and more shoes. And then I continued to reinvest. And that's why over the span of 6 or 7 months, it took me that time before I hit $10,000, because I would make maybe $1,000 in profit my first month, then 2, then 4, then 5, right? And by that time I'm reinvesting. Now I got a few, $10,000, $20,000 that I'm playing with, made it a lot easier. But you have to realize where you're at when you're starting out. Because if you don't understand where you're at when you're starting out, you're gonna make the same mistake that everyone else does, which they think that they can get to a goal sooner than they really can. And when they don't get there sooner than they thought they would, they end up quitting. So I wanna switch over to my Discord real quick to show you guys something cool. A few days ago, I had a client buy a bunch of these GT cuts. He was paying about $30 a pair. As you can see, 26 on some of them, getting them super cheap. Anyways, he ended up going back and buying more, as you can see here. And total, we got around 31 pairs from what I can see. And basically, he spent only $900 to get 31 pairs. It's a pretty good price. Now, for these GT cuts, they actually sell online anywhere from $150 to $180, and I'll show you right now some of the sales he's had in the past. So again, just a few days ago, we sold a bunch of these GT cuts for $180, $170, $153. You guys get the point. He's paying $30, so he's making $100 per pair. And like as a reseller, that's amazing. He's making $100 a pair, which is great. Like you always want that. But if we really think about it, if his goal is to get to $10,000 a month, and he sold all 31 pairs for $100 profit, he only made $3,100. He's not even a third of the way to $10,000 in a month. Now, obviously, this is a great sourcing trip. He's gonna make really good money from this. But again, you have to realize what you're doing as a reseller. Is your goal to make 3,100 or is it to make 10 grand? So if his goal is to make 10 grand, he knows the job's not finished. He still has more work to do this month. And you have to realize that too as a reseller. You might have a very successful week. It doesn't mean you get to, take your foot off the gas. You have to keep pushing, because in order for him to scale, he's got to continue to learn new things like Amazon, whatever it is. He's got to continue to learn new things, learn how to market better. And then he's also got to continue to source. I'm going to say it again. He's got to continue to source. Like I'm really trying to get it through you guys that you have to source like crazy. And if you don't, you're going to get left behind. So those are 3 things that you can implement today that are going to help you get towards your goal. Number 1 is understanding your mindset, right? Where you're at. Do you actually believe it's possible to hit your goal? Number 2 is understanding the volume that you need to do, right? What is the goal that you have to get to? How many shoes do you have to sell, right? Understanding kind of the metrics behind it. And then number 3 is also kind of the same as number 2. Again, like I said, the metrics, the volume, all of it together, but actually understanding how it works, how much you have to source in the systems. So if you follow those 3 tips, I'm telling you in 2025, you're gonna have a really successful reselling business. And if you're watching this video going, Caden, I don't have 20 to 30 grand to get to 10K a month yet. Don't worry. Like again, I started with $1,000. I even did a YouTube video or an Instagram challenge where I started with $250 and I flipped it to 10 grand. And I showed each and every flip along that journey. So you guys can follow the directions and the guides that I show. And as I, again, break down this entire thing, that you can actually see that it's possible. And if you're someone like that who's starting with under $1,000 or just trying to get into the reselling, I have a free challenge available. It's in the link in the description. You guys can join it. You get access to a lot of different tools inside of our servers and a free course as well, which will be perfect for you guys when you're starting out. But yeah, I just thought I'd throw that in there for you guys. So that's it. Thank you guys for watching. Implement those 3 things in your business. You'll see a ton of really good results. If you guys have any questions or comments for me, leave them down below. Love to chat with you guys. And other than that, have a blessed rest of your week. See ya.